So thank you everybody for joining us. Happy day after the merge, and welcome to the quarterly Livepeer Orchestrator call. I'm Stephen from the core team, and today we've got some great topics for you. Just a quick reminder, if you didn't know already, we have a Livepeer community calendar, so you can make sure you know all about events like this ahead of time with details, dates, all the goodies. That's at bit.ly/livepeer-calendar. I'll drop a link in the chat whenever I'm not talking. But for the time being, like I said, we have some great topics planned for you. And first up is going to be Eric, the co-founder of Livepeer, who's going to talk about demand on the network. So Eric, over to you.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Good to be here. Yeah, I'm currently in the Netherlands. We're doing a bit of a team on-site with some of the engineers on the team. But yeah, really excited to kind of hop on here and give everyone a quick update on kind of the demand side of the Livepeer network, really focused on Livepeer Studio. And also, I think I can talk a little bit about the Catalyst like broadcasting capabilities that we've been working on as well. As we're going through this update, feel free to drop any chats into the chat if you have any questions, and I'm happy to answer them as we go. Cool. So yeah, let me start with a quick update about Livepeer Studio. So we've been really working to kind of remind everyone, right? Like the reason that we started working on Livepeer Studio is because as we've been building this network, we realized that bringing demand onto the network is really vital for the sustainability of the network, right? So we have all these great orchestrators on the network, but it's only worthwhile to run orchestrator nodes when we actually have great demand that's coming. And demand doesn't just come by itself, right? It really needs to be built through introducing this technology to different use cases, but also building great products, building great integration points so that businesses or individuals or projects that have the kind of the need for video transcoding and video streaming can actually easily use the capacity that's provided by the Livepeer network. And that's a big challenge, especially in the decentralized world where oftentimes technologies are just a little bit harder to use than kind of the traditional cloud world, right? So that's why we started building Livepeer Studio, really for it to be a hosted gateway solution that allows anyone with demand, anyone with kind of an intent to use the Livepeer network capacity to easily be able to plug in their existing video workflow so that they, into the Livepeer network. And you can see the Livepeer Studio product as a hosted gateway service for the Livepeer network that also provides some convenience methods for other types of video workflows. So when we first started working on Livepeer Studio, we introduced the live streaming capability, and slowly over time we added multi-streaming. We added the ability to record the people's live streams. We did a couple of other experiments around being able to kind of automatically detect certain types of content, like like adult content or soccer content for copyrighted streams because of DMCA takedown reasons. And in the last quarter or so, we've been really focused on adding another really important capability into Livepeer Studio hosted product, and that's video on demand, right? So for those who aren't so familiar, video on demand is basically the ability for anyone to upload a video file, and when and the way that works is Livepeer will, the Livepeer Studio software will store that video file into a storage solution of people's choice. Usually it's these decentralized storage solutions like, IPFS or Arweave or, SIA or something like that. And Livepeer Studio, of course, would transcode the video using the Livepeer network. It will cache the video for speedy delivery, and kind of you can almost think of it as a layer for making sure video data that's stored on decentralized storage is actually able to create a good streaming experience for an end user. Right. So we've been building this product for a little while, and as of a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we officially put the product out there for everyone to use. And in this process, we've been getting working with early builders to test this out. We've been really getting great feedback. A couple of users to really highlight here. One of the most interesting applications out there that's already using the video on demand service is called Lens 2. And this is a kind of a YouTube style application built within the Lens ecosystem, allowing anyone to first upload their video into Arweave or IPFS, and using Livepeer to transcode the video to stream the video out in HLS format, using the Livepeer player, and the Livepeer Studio video on demand product is is a pretty exciting area, because video on demand is such a there's such a broad appeal to this types of use case, right? Because if you think about live streaming, it really requires someone to have the confidence to go out to put on this live stream that's happening in real time and be in front of an audience, versus for on demand. There's all kinds of video out there, all kinds of video assets out there, right? A lot of times people want to have these video assets to be streamable, and Livepeer can make that available for the Web3 world. So if we look at a little bit ahead, we in the remainder of Q3 and in Q4, we're going to continue to improve both the Livepeer video on Livepeer Studio on demand service and live streaming service. We're going to be adding access control mechanisms so that people can control who gets to watch their videos, right? So for example, this is really interesting for applications that want to offer token gating. There's already applications using Livepeer to do token gating, but this new feature is going to allow developers to build token gating in a way that's much more secure and make it much easier. At the same time, we're also working on mobile use cases, which is a big growth area for video in general, but especially for Web3, right? Because today, I would say majority of the Web3 experiences are still primarily desktop focused. But as we can see, there are already new interesting Web3 mobile apps are being launched, and and I think Livepeer is a firm believer in that mobile is going to be the primary video consumption kind of mode for Livepeer as well, and for Web3 in general. So we want to make sure mobile our mobile tooling, the mobile use cases are really easy for developers to use Livepeer. There are some interesting kind of opportunities that we're seeing along the way for not only Livepeer broadcasters, but for other broadcasters on the network as well. And that's really rooted in the fact that Livepeer Studio is completely open source. and is powered by Livepeer Catalyst, which is the the new kind of Livepeer broadcasting node, right? So we announced Livepeer Catalyst earlier this year at the Community Summit at DevConnect. Since then, we've been really continuing to improve this piece of software, building very deep integration with this first-class media server software that we acquired early last year called Mist Server, and this software is really has really come a long way and continues to improve. Right? I know that some community members have been asking about documentation and resources to run their own Catalyst node, run their own broadcasting node, and we've been hearing that feedback, and especially for as I'm on the on-site, right? This is a continued topic that comes up. The current status for that is that because the code is moving very quickly, tons of new features are being added. It's really difficult to maintain high quality documentation that's very thorough, right? Because things are constantly being updated. So our plan going forward is to have to move more of the development conversation to kind of our over to our Discord and make it public for everybody to be able to follow. At the same time, for anyone who is kind of brave enough to want to run this software that's moving fast and want to be kind of stay active, to be kind of a tester or early alpha user. Of course, they should be encouraged to do so, and we'll have kind of developer level documentation in the Livepeer Catalyst repository. Okay. I'm going to pause here a little bit and just see if anybody has any question about what I just said from the demand side and from a broadcasting perspective.
Yeah, and if anybody is watching on the live stream and didn't get into the Zoom and wants to drop a question in general chat as well, we're watching that general chat on Discord. That is.
Cool. Yeah. So looking at our plan for the next quarter in terms of bringing on more and more demand. We're really focused on a couple of different areas, and I really invite the communities to come and participate in this process. Right. So the areas that we really focused on is to introduce more video use cases into Web3. As we kind of examine the Web3 ecosystem in Q3 and even late Q2. We see that a ton of new, interesting consumer applications are being developed in the Web3 space. One interesting area is this Web3 social movement. Right, we already have a deep partnership with the Lens Protocol. We've been speaking with Orbis. We're connected with the CyberConnect team. There's Sparkcaster, and there are a number of kind of independent Web3 social applications that are also being developed. That space is interesting for us because number one, we're already seeing interesting examples like Lens2, right, which is really kind of a video-based social network being developed and getting in early adoption. And number two is that we truly believe video is an important enabling component for social networking in general, right? All the largest social networks in the world eventually evolve towards a kind of a video platform where all the most engaging content on these social networks are video assets, whether it's on demand or live streams. So we want to be in early, and we want to power all of these applications to make sure Web3 and decentralized social networks are using decentralized video infrastructure, right? So that's one area. The second we're really exploring is around gaming. This is still a little early, right? We see a lot of Web3 gamings being developed right now. We see a few that have been launched, but we truly believe that Web3 is going to be a new enabler for gaming, just because it kind of opens up their economy. It gives more network effect to these games that in the Web2 world have been traditionally closed off. And we also know that in the existing gaming world, there's a ton of video kind of byproducts, right? Whether people recording demos of videos, or well know that tons of gamers stream their gaming sessions on Twitch or YouTube gaming, these types of platforms. So we want to focus on there and enable Web3 games to again stream on Web3 and decentralized infrastructure. Right? This exploration is a little earlier for us. We're talking to some Web3 gaming studios and really try to understand what their needs are. Oftentimes, some early insights point to the fact that these Web3 games a lot of times want to have custom video streaming experiences, right? And they want more features than just what YouTube or Twitch are able to offer, right? Which is kind of a pretty vanilla baseline video streaming features that are really aimed at driving views. In Web3, a lot of the ethos is about building a community and having your community actively participate, right? So in the same vein, when game studios are kind of designing their experience of how people watch the playing sessions of these games, they also want the viewers to be able to actively participate in these sessions or even in the game itself in some way, right? So that's a really exciting area for us to explore, and we again invite our ecosystem to come and explore that with us. So if you're involved in the Web3 gaming world, if you are involved in any community, introduce us. We would love to speak with those communities. Another area that we're actively exploring is around DAOs. As we know already, right? DAOs are really interesting. Probably one of the most interesting areas in Web3 from a coordination perspective, right? We see that people from all around the world are able to find their tribe with common interests, and they're now able to pull together resources and be able to coordinate in this decentralized way to go after some mission, right? And that's really exciting for us to see. And the other thing that's exciting is that we're starting to see these DAOs to have video streaming and content needs, right? And what that means is, I think soon we'll start to see DAOs wanting to host their videos, but not just on these like traditional Web2 content platforms. So that's another area that we're actively exploring, trying to understand what are the new needs for DAOs. For example, they may want to control access to the video content so that only DAO members are able to view certain content. Right? Well, YouTube or Twitch or Facebook, Instagram don't really allow that. And for the bigger DAOs, it starts to make sense for them to think about building their own custom video streaming kind of platform, so that their DAO members are able to kind of participate with the same ethos that all the other DAO toolings allow them to do. So those are the three areas that we're really focusing on for Q4. And again, right, if you're involved in any of those communities, would love to get your feedback and and speak with you more to help us drive more demand into the Livepeer network.
Okay, great. Does anybody have any questions for Eric? Okay, if anything comes up, we can run back to that later. But for now, we'll continue on. Next, we have a update on the reliability and performance dashboard by Titan Node and Elite Encoder. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Quickly, how much time do I have? I know Alex wanted to start at about a half past the hour.
Yeah, do 10 minutes if you go a little bit over. That's fine. We can make him rush at the end.
No worries, no worries. Okay,
all
cool.
good.
What I'll do is I'll share my screen here and we'll get started. So, if everyone can see my screen, is it showing up here?
Yeah, looks good.
Cool. Okay, so this is the reliability and performance dashboard update. For those of you that don't know, the reliability and performance dashboard was kind of a community-driven effort from a response from a lot of potential broadcasters that wanted to come and use Livepeer, but needed to build some trust around Livepeer's reliability. They currently, some use Amazon Web Services, some use other services, some are just building apps from scratch, but they want to know that Livepeer is in fact reliable and going to work for their app. So we came up with this solution and proposed a grant for it. So these features for this this particular dashboard is like a live feed. It could be like a 24-hour live feed, trailing 30-day uptime, trailing 30-day costs, maybe a Web2 comparison, and stream metrics such as the delay to the user, round trip times, all these kinds of things. So this was built into the grant and approved for the first phase. So I'm not going to get too much into the dashboard specifically. I'm actually going to get more into phase one. So there's 5 phases to this project. We are currently only on phase one. We're building it out. Elite Encoder and Syrinx B79 have been the 2 working on it. So for the rest of this talk here, we're going to be strictly talking about phase one. Okay, so what is phase one? Phase one is kind of a prerequisite to having this dashboard completed, and it is creating like a price per broadcaster tool within the Livepeer code. So what does a price per broadcaster tool do? So it allows orchestrators to set a specific price for specific broadcasters. Okay, so why do we want this? Well, if we want to have, say, a reliability and performance dashboard, we want to provide a constant stream into the Livepeer network and pull back those metrics. But we want the dashboard itself to not have to spend any ETH or any value on doing this work, because it's for the benefit of the network. Right now, if you wanted to spin up a broadcaster, you'd have to deposit ETH, spend the ETH on transcoding, and get your metrics. So what we've decided to come up with is this option of adding a price per pixel per broadcaster. We could whitelist this one broadcaster, the performance broadcaster, and it can start sending us streams which we can display to the world on how reliable we are as a network. Now, the way we're going to implement this is a new flag called price per broadcaster. This is going to be an array of addresses and prices that orchestrators can set. And the great thing about this implementation is it's non-destructive. So if you are currently running an orchestrator and you have your price per pixel set at 1,000, this upgrade will not change anything. You don't have to change your configuration files. Absolutely nothing changes. Your default value is your price per pixel. But if you wish to change or advertise a price per pixel for a particular broadcaster address, you can now use this flag, and it will override the default when that broadcaster asks you for its price. So it's a non-destructive upgrade, and it will be added to the Go Livepeer code on GitHub for to be compiled, or at least it will be applied for. I'll get Elite Encoder to talk a little bit about that. I'm just going over the abstract of this phase one. Some other benefits to this phase one, which isn't just about the reliability and performance testing. So like you can spin up your own node and you can test on mainnet rather than having people test on test nets or anything. There's actually two other benefits that kind of come into play from this upgrade. So obviously we have the reliability and performance aspect where we can test things on mainnet. We have expanding market pricing. So we give more control over the orchestrators to create more dynamic pricing in the marketplace. So rather than just setting one standard price and doing a gunshot approach or a shotgun approach to all the broadcasters out there, we can kind of start to customize things. So you can do things like pegging and dynamic pricing. You can do pricing per region is already you can do that already with GeoDNS. But the idea would be something like, we know that Livepeer Inc. They provide transcoding at say 1200 way per pixel, but and you want the Livepeer Inc. work. You really like the consistency and the amount of work they get. But let's say that your infrastructure is more expensive than that. Maybe it's 2000 way per pixel that you really need to charge for the infrastructure costs of your really, really reliable stuff. So what you could say is your default is actually 2000, and that's what you could advertise to anyone on Web3. But you can set your way per pixel for Livepeer Inc. to 1200 so that you can continue doing business with them. And this allows more dynamic pricing, discovery, and allows for Mr. Market to really come in and create those variables between kind of like a broadcaster and an orchestrator. The third thing that also this enables is something like free trials. If a broadcaster came in and they wanted to try a Livepeer for free, we could, as a community, potentially whitelist an address that we could hand out in some sort of free trial fashion. If you are dealing with a broadcaster directly and you want to help them out, maybe you can just whitelist their address, 0 way per pixel, and they can start streaming onto mainnet without any deposit, right? So if you set your way per pixel to 0 on mainnet, it actually requires 0 deposit. So you can start testing out Livepeer in some sort of free trial fashion. All our competitors, Amazon, different, Microsoft, almost all of them provide some sort of free trial. This might be an opportunity for Livepeer to do that. I don't have actually the specifics on how this would work, but it just opens up those opportunities by opening up pricing per broadcaster. Okay, let's quickly get into the Q&A session. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. And I would now like to invite Elite Encoder up to join me. And so the two people that are working on this particular phase are, like I said, 0xB79 and Elite Encoder. There are two orchestrators in the community. Highly recommend staking to them if you are watching this and looking for some good returns. So, but yeah, Elite Encoder, if you want to join us and just tell us a little bit about where you're at with this phase one completion.
Yeah, and I can go ahead and share my screen as well. I put together a couple slides just to cover, the usage of the price per broadcaster. You guys can hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good to go. Go ahead and share your screen.
Great. Okay. Right. Everyone see the presentation?
I don't see it yet.
There we go.
There we go.
Aha, looks good.
Better. All right. So So yeah, pretty much everything you covered, Titan. This is the most important value add here is I think a change to the pricing market. It allows broadcasters to open up those free streams and start onboarding and working directly with broadcasters. So orchestrators can start developing the broadcaster marketplace. The Orc web hook URL would provide an interface for what you were talking about earlier, is like some kind of authentication for broadcasters. So if we set pricing a certain way, it does allow for a zero deposit on the broadcaster side. So that's going to allow orchestrators to even test their own setups in production, as far as like sending themselves test streams and things like that without having to have a deposit. And most importantly, as the main focus of the project is to provide that test interface for the reliability and performance dashboard. We've completed our testing and development at this point, and it does integrate with the price per pixel consistently, so that operates as your default, and then anything that you set to price per broadcaster lays over top of that. I wanted to point out the GitHub issue number, which shows that I think Papa Bear submitted this idea some time ago. He's always got great ideas. So this covers kind of what the usage looks like. We're about to submit our pull request this week, I believe. So the price per broadcaster is defined using a JSON config string or file. This is pretty much what that JSON array would look like. You have your Ethereum address of the broadcaster, price per unit, and price per pixel. And so that should make a lot of opportunities open up, and I think this helps describe where we're at with it. It does allow you to define that either HTTP interface or via the startup parameter. So you could encode this JSON as a long string or just put it into a text file. We also have a free stream flag that was added. And all this does is it just defines one broadcaster ETH address that would allow them to stream with zero cost. And then just moving forward, the next steps, we've been developing the code and running real live test cases on it. We've also developed test cases within the Livepeer repository, and we're going to go ahead and submit a pull request this week. And then if you'd like to look up the code and take a look at it, this is the link to the current branch. That's just about the technical details. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, while we're waiting for people to drop some questions in, or while they're thinking of them, if you want to add that link to the chat so that anybody can go look it up, we'll also drop it in Discord later.
Yeah. There we go.
And a big shout out to Elite Encoder and 0xb79 for their hard work on this. They've been putting in quite a few hours and doing a great job upgrading the actual code base for Livepeer. So hopefully, yeah, this is just really appreciate the work they've done.
Anytime, we'll get to those as they come. But in the meantime, we will go over to Alex, aka Syrinx node, Syrinx. Tell me how to pronounce that. Who's going to be going over several things, including documentation, the ETH-ARB bridge issue, and some follow-ups from the Monday water coolers. Take it away.
Thanks, Stephen. So I mean, a lot has happened between now and the last orchestrator call we had. I think to highlight a few of them, we have a new ingest node in Sao Paulo, which was initially just as a proof of concept internally within Livepeer, and it's been cool to see that a few of our highest performing orchestrators have deployed infrastructure there as well. So it's great to see this dynamic growth, even though our launch of that ingest node wasn't like widely distributed. So that's been cool to see. Another curious development is, and this is good, I'm not sure why this has happened, but we've seen more active sort of content creators or engineers working on projects that will result in inbound content to Livepeer in the Monday water coolers that Titan node runs. So that's a great trend to see starting and seemingly growing. We've had, I think, 3 new people working with this in the last month, which has been great to see. What's cool is some of these people, since the use cases have been pretty wide, there's been some feedback. Like I was talking to someone last week and they said, yeah, it's kind of interesting because there's certain use cases where in testing we found that Livepeer is easier to use or at times more performant in certain cases than Twitch or existing sort of centralized infrastructure, which is awesome. And it's exciting when someone's using Livepeer. He's getting a lot of value out of it, and then clearly sees that the reason that is because we have a strong set of orchestrators that take this all pretty seriously. Another thing I wanted to call out was there's been a lot of work done within the orchestrator community, specifically spearheaded by Mike Super and Authority Null. A number of others have contributed as well, but I think Mike Super was a big force just improving some of the DevOps approaches that a lot of orchestrators use, and then having a very strong initiative to share this information, which that's been a really cool attribute of the orchestrator community for quite some time, as long as I've been with Livepeer. But yeah, the cool thing with this is it's not necessarily the most exciting thing, but the outcomes benefit everyone because new orchestrators can get up to speed faster, and at the end of the day, even if bits of this are used, or even some of this is just used as a starting point, it means that the Livepeer network generally is more performant, resilient, and reliable. Not even just from the top 10 or top 20 orchestrators, but a majority of the group itself. So I just wanted to make those call outs. The other few things to note here, there is an ongoing effort to improve some of the processes internally at Livepeer to respond to quirks in infrastructure. So definitely keep reporting when you see that, and then just notice down or something is not quite right. Ideally, by the end of say October, ideally earlier, we'll have some better means to respond more quickly to that. I know there's been an ongoing issue with the LAX ingest node. Someone mentioned that to me last night, but yeah, and then I believe we're working on the ETH-ARB bridge issues. That's been intermittent, and hopefully within a few days after the merge, since there are no like huge changes coming in the next month. Hopefully, Nitro and the merge being within the same month was maybe not the best timing, but fortunately, after last night, everything is still standing, and everyone here is listening to the call. So that was pretty much everything I wanted to cover, Stephen. But if anyone has questions or wants to call out specific existing issues, definitely put them down below or contact me on Discord.
Yeah, great. Yeah, if anybody has any questions. Very cool. Then I just want to give a quick shout out to, oh no, never mind, we do have one. What other regions is Livepeer looking to add?
That's a good way. There are none slated, but if you know someone who's currently somewhere in between, well, I guess there has been some talk of looking at a node in Africa, but that was like one conversation 3 weeks ago. So maybe, but if you know someone who has GPUs in an area we don't currently explicitly cover, let us know.
Very cool. Yes, that would be a good region to grow into one day. Other questions? Okay, well, yeah, like I said, I just want to give a thanks to everybody who came to present today. So Eric, Alex, Tight Node, and Lead Encoder, thank you so much. Also, a shout out to everybody who attends and takes part into the Monday water coolers. They are the Orchestrator water coolers, though if you are not an Orchestrator, highly suggest you go there. Often they'll start off with a Q&A or maybe another little topic, but also there's all sorts of discussions happening there for all sorts of things. So broadcaster, delegator, whatever, it's a great place to get some really knowledgeable people to maybe help you with a question or have a cool discussion. Yeah, unless anybody has anything else, I think we can call it there.